What is happening, everybody? It's your boy Jose, TheNYCGeek, aka TNG, aka your Elden Lord, dude. I'm so hyped after this episode, aka the one who sit the throne today, aka your tribal chief, aka the guy who's just finished watching for like the twice or third time episode 4 of House of the Dragon season 2, the Red Dragon and the Gold. That is what this one is titled. And my God, listen, for all of those people who were complaining about, man, we need some big action scenes. Oh my God, we need something, which by the way, Game of Thrones has never been about big action scenes, okay? That is only what the later garbage seasons were. So I gotta tell you, if you're not into a show with people talking and dialogue and political intrigue, you're watching the wrong show. That's never what the peak Game of Thrones was. But there were moments of action in, in the original Game of Thrones, original moments here and there, but it wasn't overloaded with it, because when the battles do come, they mean something. And that was this episode. All the buildup that we have had has led to a massive, massive battle, which I got to say might be probably my second favorite big battle in all of Game of Thrones, because there's only really two major battles that I really cared about. The Battle of the Blackwater, which is number 1 for me, and this one so far. I hated the vast majority of everything at the later seasons of Game of Thrones. So these are the two, and this is peak right here. This was incredible. We're going to get into it. We're going to break it down. We're going to show the episode. But yeah, this was incredible. This you can see where the money went, man. The budget for this show, you have to compare it to, it's only fair to compare it to The Acolyte. I do it constantly, right? Why? Because The Acolyte has a massive monster budget that eclipses this show, and there's nowhere near the level of performance, of acting, of story writing, of costumes, of any of that, right? As opposed to this show, where you can see where all the money is going, into incredible set pieces, into costumes, into CGI that's just top notch. Wow. Let's start it off. Let's go right into it. Let me tell you, this has been my favorite episode of the season so far. We still got, 6 more to go? So holy shit. But this is my favorite episode so far of this season, and probably my second favorite or third favorite episode so far of the 2 seasons. My number 1 is still going to be episode 8 from last season, where Viserys making his way to the throne. That scene still brings me to tears. But this was amazing, man. Let's get right into it. Let me just jump right in. Let me bring this up. That's not a black screen, I promise you. There's going to be more to it. But we're starting off. All right. So we're starting off this episode with Daemon and Harrenhal. And I said last week, Harrenhal was kind of like the part that I didn't care as much for. I understand the importance, right? And I do I love Daemon, right? And Matt Smith is just killing it on this character. But man, I want him to be more. I can't wait for him to get back into the thick of everything when he finds out next episode is going to be bad. Or not bad. I mean, it's going to be like, oh shit, because he's going to find out how crazy the war has begun. But we'll get to that. We get into this episode, and Daemon, he has Harrenhal, but we're seeing a lot more of his inner thoughts. And that's the thing that I like. He's getting more of these visions, right? I do like that we're getting to see more of these visions. I like this shot here with, younger Rhaenyra again. And I'm so glad that the actress came back for this, because she did such a good job. What I would love, you'll get 1,000,000 points from me, House of the Dragon, is if you have Paddy Considine come back as Viserys and he has a vision with Daemon. Oh man, dude, that would be fire. That would be awesome, man. That would be a great way to bring that actor back and bring that character back. It'd be awesome. But she's talking about how she's telling him, like, you created me, Daemon. It's your fault. Like, you're the reason why I'm this, and now you're trying to destroy me because, and then she says this line, all because my brother loved me more than he did you. Dude, this is dope right here, where she hits him with that, and then what does he do? Hold on, he cuts. He like, look at Matt, dude, this guy's phenomenal, right? But look at Daemon's face. He has not been, you don't often see him like this. You rarely see Daemon this unnerved. And that's because she is getting, these visions are obviously getting in his head because they're in his head, but you know, we are learning more about his vulnerabilities, his insecurities, the, you know, which is great because we usually get so much of Damon acting confident and like, you know, like nothing bothers him, just all in his swag. But we're starting to see that there really is a lot inside of him that is disturbing him. And he lashes out at the vision and kills the young Rainier. I won't show that on screen, but he cuts her head off. It's a vision, but it still keeps talking to him and it throws him off his game, man. It's such a well done scene. And he's, part of this is going to be a little bit of this is going to be Damon trying to meet with Lord Paramount of the Riverlands, Grover Tully, but Grover Tully's hurt, so he's old and he's like bedridden, and his grandson's here, whose grandson's name is Oscar Tully, and apparently, I'm not making this up, but I've heard that he named them after Sesame Street characters, all the Tullys. I don't know, man. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's fucking hilarious. It's got to be, right? Because Grover and Oscar, man, I got to see if is there an Elmo Tully? I got to look that up. But anyway, Damon's kind of meeting up with the grandson of Lord Tully, but he's like, dude, you know, like, are you gonna raise up your levies and join us here? But the son is like, the grandson's like, dude, I can't do shit. Like, my grandson's the one who makes it. My grandfather's the one who makes the decisions, and he's bedridden. So Damon is definitely at an impasse because he came here expecting so much, right? He came here expecting so much out of Harrenhal. And I want to touch on that later, but he's finding out that this is not the grand victory he had thought of. We get over to Rhaenys, and she confronts Corlys because she sees Alan. This shot right here. She sees Alan and she's like, huh, you know, you look really familiar. Man, your mom must be really handsome, must be real pretty, because he figures out that this is his bastard. This is Lord Corlys's bastard. But she's not being like a piece of shit about it. And what's great about it is that they don't outright just tell us like, oh, you know, yeah, this is a bastard. And no, they're subtle about it. This is what happens when the writers, and she tells him, she's like, I know who he is, Corlys. But this is what happens when the writers of a show have confidence in their audience to know, to understand subtlety. It's not like The Acolyte where they have characters constantly telling you everything because the audience, the ones who love The Acolyte, are so stupid that they have to have everything spoon-fed to them. And I'm sorry, but you are dumb if you think that The Acolyte's riveting television. There's just no other way to sell it. That's it. You're an idiot. But here, it's all about the subtlety, man. They don't have to hammer you down with that, man. They don't have to take it there and be like, here you go, buddy. Here you go. I'll hand it to you because you can't figure it out yourself. And she's telling him, she's like, Alan, you know, Alan's past is no fault of his. And that leads to some very interesting things. Like, he saved this Lord's life. And she says right here, she says he should be raised up and honored. And that is a very interesting thing that Rhaenys is saying, because they can legitimize a bastard. They can legitimize a bastard. And she says he should be raised up and honored, not hidden beneath the tides. If that is his bastard, which obviously it is, he's saying like, dude, you don't have a son anymore. You don't have a son. We don't have any daughter. We don't have a daughter. You have granddaughters. Your Lucerys, who was going to be his heir, was just killed last season. This is your chance to raise up your bastard to take that title. Now you don't have to worry about inheritance. So this Rhaenys is much for the stupidity that she has had here and there. She does have some cleverness to her. She does have some cleverness, and she's telling him she should do that. We get a shot here. We move on to King's Landing, and I love this little shot right here because this is such great symbolism. Again, the show is so fucking well done, right? It's so well done. Look, we got Alicent holding. This is the little dragon figure that when she was young, in season 1 Viserys it was broken, and she went and she got it fixed for him. You could see the glue that was fixed for him right there. And he's holding it. And I wonder what's going through her head, right? Is she realizing like, damn, well, obviously she came to the realization last episode of, hey, I messed up. I have clearly misheard and misconstrued what my dying husband in agony was telling me. And I set the realm a war. I set the realm to war. And he's holding this dragon, and I wonder if she's looking at it, thinking of Viserys, thinking of for all that people kind of criticize Viserys and called him weak and all that, but he kept the realm in peace. And she's holding it and she's looking at it, and drops it. He drops it and it breaks. And to me, I think that again, this is the show showing us that this is like the piece has been broken. The house of the dragon itself, the house of the dragon is divided. It has broken into pieces because of this civil war. So I thought that was like a cool little shot of them saying that. And this is Alicent. She's getting some tea. She's getting the moon tea because she's beginning all with Kristen, and clearly they have not been having any protection. And she tries to the maester. She asks the maester like, "Hey, what do you think? Do you think that my husband kind of intended this? Like, do you think I fucked up?" And the maester's smart. The maester's like, I'm not gonna, not my place to say. I'm not really gonna just jump into this. So she's clearly having lots of doubts as to what the path that she has led everybody on. And I love this shot right here of her kind of just alone and just framed in shadow right there. Great shots, man. Great cinematography in this. We go back to Rhaenyra's council, and it is a council without a leader right now. They're discussing Baela's report, Baela being Rhaenys's granddaughter and Daemon's daughter. They're discussing her report, talking about how Sir Criston Cole's army is moving through the Riverlands, right? And not only is his forces growing stronger, because every time he conquers a castle, he's taking those forces and adding it to his own, and then he's depleting those would-be forces from Rhaenyra. So he's doing it double fold. It's a war that right now is going very poorly for the Blacks. He is taking over the Riverlands, the Crown Lands, Sir Criston Cole, and his campaign to go out there and sack these forces and sack these castles. And right now they're talking about they are rudderless. They have no leader. In fact, that's one of the lines that one of the members here on the council says. He's like, this ship is rudderless. We have no, the enemy host is growing, and we have no one to lead us, and we have nothing. If we had an army of our own, we could go out there. And it just goes to show how what dire straits they're in. And they're just constantly fighting with each other, right? Because at least when Daemon was there, Daemon is a strong enough figure to say like, hey, like I'm the king consort. I can direct in Rhaenyra's absence, but he's not there either. So they've lost their king, they've lost their queen, and now they're like, what the hell are we doing? We're losing an army that we've never even got a chance to muster. So you can see how they are in such dire straits. And Rhaenys tells them like, yeah, the ship is rudderless, but I am trying to hold it together. I'm trying to, lead. And she says, she's like, look, Rhaenyra's not out there just not doing anything. She's trying to see if there's any options available to us, but they don't know all that. They don't know all that. So it's hard for them. And it's understandable why the lords are under, they're in the right of this. They're cut off from the rest of the mainland. Remember, they're in Dragonstone. I wish I had a map of Westeros. I should have a map of Westeros with me when I start doing this. They're in Dragonstone, isolated off of the bay, and all of the mainland is over here being sacked by Criston Cole. And the only person that they have on the mainland is Daemon, and he's in Harrenhal, and he's by himself. So, and he's trying to rally up an army and just not doing much of it. So, understandably, the queen is nowhere to be found. You can understand their frustration with how the war is going, and it totally makes sense. And to further compound it, we see this great shot right here of, let me just bring y'all to it. Sir Criston Cole has taken another castle. He has tucked it. I think this is Dustdale. I can't remember the exact name of it, but this is another castle that was sworn to Rhaenyra. They swore to Rhaenyra's side, and now Cole has sacked it. And with him taking it, that is another bunch of troops. You can earn back your honor. He's telling the men by raising his banner. So twofold. Not only is he strengthening his army, but he is taking away from what she would have had. So hypothetically, if he took 500 troops, it's not like he took 500 troops. It's like he did 1,000 troops worth of damage, because he took 500 from himself and took away those 500 that would have been able to join her. So he's doing double the duty. And it's, as much as you may hate Cole, the guy's efficient in the bat. He's efficient. He's the right tool for this kind of job. And he's leading out this Lord Darkland, and he's telling him, like, dude, you can, stick. And he sticks to his truth. To be fair, good moral, Lord Darkling. Like, to Lord Darkling's side. Oh, what a perfect spot right there. He tells him, he's like, is there any honor left in this world? Because you're not fit to wear the crown, and you're sacking the queen's castles. This guy is a diehard Targaryen loyalist to Rhaenyra, and he calls Sir Criston Cole the Kingmaker, which is a title from the book, and we finally get it spoken of in here. And in the truth, it is Cole. He is making, he's making a king. It may not be the king that people might think it might be, at least in the ways that it's looking. But anyway, he executes this lord. He tells him, like, this is, and like I said, this is I put notes here of it, that even though Cole is unfit for the scheming and the plotting and the politicking and whatnot, but when it comes to battle, when it comes to war, he is the right person for it. It's all about having that right tool for the job. If you try to hammer in a screw, you're going to have a hard time, right? You need a screwdriver for it. That's the thing with Sir Criston Cole. I used that analysis because I have a hammer here because I was doing some work earlier. Sorry, that just came to my head. But we get Criston Cole taking that castle, and we're about to get to a big part of this episode. This part right here is going to be huge for what it leads up to, because there's certain events that are happening right here. Whew, sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that quick cut. I had something falling in my eye, an eyelash. I was about to lose my mind. Anyway, so we're going to Aegon's council, and this is such a huge part of this episode and the events that are going to come. Okay, there are events that will be stemming from all of this massive buildup, this latter half of the episode, this amazing battle sequence. And Aegon is, but before we get into that, I want to talk about the small council, and we're seeing how effective the small council truly was, right? We didn't get to see that in Game of Thrones, really, because Robert was a fool who didn't care about the small council. He didn't care about ruling. He just cared about drinking and whoring. And Joffrey was a petulant brat who didn't really care about the small council either. But here you see how effective and how important it is to have a wise small council. And the problem is that Aegon, and we're going to get to this line because this is amazing, Aegon feels like, guys, you're not keeping me in the loop. I'm the king. I'm the king here, and you're not keeping me in the damn loop. And remember, this has really been like, I've been loving this about Aegon, right? Aegon was a character that was not very fleshed out in the first season, but he's been thrust into a role that he never thought he was going to have. Never. Aegon was never meant to be king. He has grown up his whole life being thought of as never getting any attention from his father, never getting any attention from his mother, thought of as basically a joke, always in the shadow of his older sister who was supposed to be the queen, and realizing like, oh shit, I'm the king now. And he's been wanting to take that seriously, right? Or as serious as Aegon can take it. But his own council, his own brother, his own mother, his own grandsire, you know, Otto, they're all undercutting him. They don't care about his opinion. They think of him as just a fool. And he is realizing that he truly is a figurehead. There are powers behind the throne and he has none of it. So to him, he wants to make informed rulings and he's going to say that. But right now he's furious because Daemon, of all people, has taken Harrenhal. And he thinks that this is a terrible thing. But what Sir Larys tells him is, dude, your liege, which this is a great line. He's like, your liege, that castle is, I love that line. He says, that castle is more crippled than me. And he tells him that, you know, he's telling him, dude, Daemon seizing that castle is actually a good thing because he's distracted there. And I like this, that Aegon says, you know, he's like, I need to be, he has this line here where he says, I need to be informed. He tells him, I took all the gold. Sir Larys tells Aegon, he's like, I took all the gold and, you know, Sir Criston Cole is still felling castles in the Crownland. So don't worry, we're winning. But Aegon says, I need to be informed of these things if I am to make informed rulings. And he's not realizing, or he will by the end of this, that he's not making rulings, period. They are doing this all on their own. They're leading a war council. And Aemon stands up and tells them this war will not be won with dragons alone, but with dragons flying behind the armies of men. And this is the thing. Aegon is not realizing. He doesn't realize that this isn't like where when Aegon the Conqueror had landed on Westeros and him and his sisters had the only dragons on the battlefield. They had 3 dragons, but they also had a small army, an army that kept growing as they laid conquest to things, but they still had 3 dragons. They had the only aerial, they had, there's a term for aerial fighting and whatnot for jet fighter, and it's called like air, I think it's like fighter, God, I'm blanking on the name. It's like air supremacy, right? Where if you have, there's certain tiers of it, and I gotta look it up now because I know I'm not bugging out, but air supremacy is a thing where, it's also known as aerial supremacy or air superiority, and it's the degree to which a side holds control of air power over opposing forces. Okay, that is a real military term. You can look it up. And what Aegon II here doesn't realize is this isn't like his predecessor. Aegon the Conqueror had the entire air superiority. He had it all because he was the only one who had 3 dragons. So yes, he was able to conquer with a smaller army and unite and eventually grow that army. But this isn't like that now. They don't have the air supremacy. In fact, honestly, if you ask me, they're very, very underpowered in terms of air resources. Yes, they have Vhagar, but that is only one dragon, one big dragon, but it is one dragon. And then they have Sunfire, which I think that's the name of Aegon's dragon. So they have 2 dragons, a smaller dragon and a huge dragon. But what Rhaenyra's side has her dragon, Daemon's, Rhaenys, Baela's, Jacaerys. They have 5-something dragons. I gotta tell you, Vhagar doesn't stand a chance against probably 2 dragons, let alone 5. So Aemon realizes we cannot win this battle with just dragons. We need to have armies of men. And that's something that Aegon doesn't get. And I like this line. Aegon's like, he's telling him this, and Aegon's like, dude, yeah, but no, I have him turn back. I want Harrenhal back. He's like, no, I want this. I want Harrenhal. And he doesn't get it. And this is part of the problem that Aegon is facing. Like I said, he's realizing that he is ineffective as a ruler. And so much so that he's telling him, he's like, Aemon's like, no, dude, listen, Cole is going for Rook's Rest, a small castle, an inconsequential castle. And he's like, why? How do you know that? And Aemon's like, he said word to me. And he's like, what? Look at the dude. I'm going to later pause on a specific scene that I want to play out because like I've said constantly, the acting's great, right? The acting's amazing, but Aegon's actor, holy shit, man. The facial expressions this guy gives, and he's like, and look at the all of them. They are all so uncomfortable. They all do it so well of like, oh man. It's like watching two parents argue and you're in the middle. You're like, no, I just want to get out of here. But he tells them, the two of you have been plotting without my authority. Okay. He tells his brother, he's like, the two of you have been plotting without my authority. And then Aemon does something here that's, I think that this is crazy. This is so clever, man. This goddamn show does it so clever. Aemon is, you know, Aemon's basically showing him like, I'm running this war without you. But look at this. He's got this perfect snarky face, man. This actor is good for that too. But he starts talking to him in High Valyrian, and he tells him, oh, you have more pressing matters to attend to. You had more important things to do, right? And I love that he starts talking to him in Valyrian, because afterwards, this serves twofold certain things, right? One, he can get his message across to Aegon without the others understanding what he's saying. So this way, he's not openly insulting the king, because whether Aegon is ineffective or not, you still got to be careful, because like you don't want to make the king feel like slighted in front of his council, because then you step too far. So Aemon realizes that. So he starts talking to him in Valyrian. He also starts to mock him. He tells him, you had more important things to do. You had to pick your, holding court, which he's barely doing, or he's not doing it really right. Choosing your sobriquet, which I didn't even know what this word means. It's apparently a title, his moniker. So, how Aegon was saying like Aegon the Magnanimous or Aegon this. He's making fun of him because he's like, you're not doing the things. You're not actually leading the war. And then he says, you've been putting these lick spittles. I skipped over it and I probably won't be able to get to it. But he tells, there it is. He goes, naming imbecilic lick spittles to our king's guard. He's showing Aegon all of the things that he's done wrong, all of how ineffective he has been as a ruler. And Aemon is just constantly undercutting him. And then he tells him, he goes, if you have any, if you have anything to say, like announce it to your council. Like, do you have an answer or something? And Aegon tries to respond back. And I don't know. I think that this is what the writers are showing us, right? Because again, they are showing, not telling. That's why they're competent writers as opposed to the acolyte. Aegon tries to respond back in Valyrian. And I can have to make, he can barely string together a sentence in High Valyrian. This is the tongue that all Targaryens are taught. Like, as soon as you can learn the common tongue, you're taught High Valyrian. And he can barely string it together, while Aemon has shown how fluent he is in it. He's struggling to make a sentence, to put together a sentence. And it just goes to highlight how further inept Aegon truly is and how much more dangerous Aemon is. I'm sorry if I confuse, if I mess up the two, because the goddamn names all are too close together. But this was an important scene, because later this is going to really have some effects. There's gonna be some consequences to this, and especially to a second scene that's gonna come up soon. We go to Alicent and Larys, and they're discussing Kristen Cole's campaign in the Crown Lands. And like I said, Sir Larys wait, let me see if I could get to his, he sees that she took the moon tea, right? He saw that she took the moon tea. She's trying to pretend like it's not that, and she's like, oh damn, yeah, I ate some pie. And he's like, yeah, you ate some pie, huh? Yeah, or someone eating your pie. Sorry. But he notices the moon tea, but he kind of keeps playing that, like he's letting her know, like, I know. He's so good at this is what Littlefinger should have been, But the show had no idea how to really utilize him in the later seasons, and even in like the early seasons, Littlefinger is nothing to Sir Lara Strong, not at all. In 2 seasons, Lara Strong has shown himself to be far more of a manipulator and better at it than Littlefinger has been. You know, but we start seeing that she has, because he's asking her, he's like, why you got all these books here? Basically, he's like, I didn't know that you were so you know, so enamored with history like your husband once was. And she says, you know, it's not, she's really looking through the history books. She is trying to make sense and try to find out about the Song of Ice and Fire, because she knows that, again, she has messed up majorly. She has set the realm to war, a war that might have happened either way. Like, we can't put it all on Alicent. As much as I dislike Alicent, we can't put it all on her, because they showed, Otto and them have shown that they were already plotting to do this, okay? But she accelerated it. If she had maybe been opposed to it, if she had been against it, especially when she still had Aegon's ear back then, this war might not have happened. They might have kicked they might have kicked Otto's ass out of there. But she realizes she gave them the ammunition they needed. And that's kind of what they're talking about here, because she's trying to, you know, Sir Lara Strong is kind of like saying, like, you know, wow, like, you know, good thing that Cole's doing so well. I know you're so worried about your sworn sword, but again, it's really well done. Sir Lara Strong, this is what this show is, right? And we're almost getting towards the middle, towards the big battle that I talked about at earlier in the video. But this show is about the characters. It's about the dialogue. It's about their interactions. It's about seeing those emotions, that acting. Yes, there can be flashy battles, and there is one, and there's an amazing one, but it's just more than just that. This is not just bang, bang, sword, sword, clash, clash. This is what Game of Thrones, and I say Game of Thrones, but I mean obviously Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones when it was at its peak. This is what this show is about. It's about these interactions. Like right here, we're going back to Harrenhal, and we're going back to Daemon, and he is interacting with this lady, this weird kind of lady who she kind of, when he showed up, she showed up, and when he was having that vision, he showed up afterwards, and she introduces herself as Alice Rivers, and she's kind of like a witch. He says, "Are you like the maester here?" But she's like, I'm kind of like that, but she's like a witch. She's making these crazy concoctions. But what's great about her is that she can see through Daemon. She can see through him easily. And she tells him, she's like, you just had a fight with your wife, huh? And he's like, what? So what you talking about? And she's like, you're here. You arrive here alone to claim the castle. You don't send any ravens. What can you're trying to make a conquest for yourself. And she can read him like an open book. And again, this is great for Daemon, because he is not in his element here. Daemon's used to being the one to put people off balance. That's Daemon's strength. He's used to being the guy that's the wild card. And now he is in Harrenhal, where he's getting assaulted by these visions that are making him face uncomfortable truths. And he's also being, not confronted, but this woman is basically laying it all out to him and reading him like an open book. And man, like, dude, I see through you. And this is not Daemon's forte. He's like, oh shit, like this is becoming the quagmire that the Greens had hoped for. And yes, he's trying to, rally up an army through, the Blackwoods against the Brackens, but nothing is coming of it. Nothing is coming of it. He's barely able to piece things together. And we go to, this is where, like I said, it's about to get it. This is going to be the thing that spirals outward. This is that second scene I was talking about with Aegon. We got it with the small council. Now we're going to get it here where Aegon, look at his face. Aegon's like, he's like, y'all bore me. All of you are boring me. Because he's at his council and they're talking about livestock and coin and all the shit that drove Robert Baratheon crazy. But he is stewing on what Aemon told him, because Aemon has left. Aemon's gone, And Aemon and Cole are leading this war, and he's doing jack shit. And he tells him, you all bore me. I love him, man. I love this Aegon, right? Aegon's so detestable, but I love this actor, man. He's so good. And he goes to his mother, his mother is in his chambers. He's like, what are you doing here, dude? Get the hell out of here. And he's asking him, like, where are the books that your dad had here? You know, where are all the damn books? And he's like, I sent them away. I didn't burn them. I'm not an animal. I like that he said that, right? Like, because that would be something Joffrey would do. Joffrey would have taken the books and burned them. But he says, no, I had them removed. I didn't burn the books. Like, they're here. You can go find them somewhere else. They're just not in my place. I got to make room for my wine bottles and shit. But he tells, like, he talks to, I like this. Like, he's angry. He's upset. And he's trying to go. This is so important, right? Because we saw this in episode 2 when Aegon was crying, when he was sobbing, thinking of his son. And she didn't comfort him. Alicent had a chance to walk in there and comfort him, and she didn't. She went to try to comfort Helena, who obviously had suffered it worse because she was there when it happened. But she had a chance to comfort her other child, and she didn't, because Alicent, for all of her righteousness and all this, is such a hypocrite, and she truly continues to earn like the worst mother in Westeros outside of Catelyn Stark, because Catelyn Stark was terrible. And she wasn't as bad. She's not as bad as Alicent, but Catelyn Stark was awful. And she's in his chamber. She's looking for these books, and he's looking for some advice. And what does she do? Like, when he's telling her what they're doing, she just continues to belittle them and to belittle him. And she's like, I'm the king. And he's like, so what, man? And instead of telling him in a way where you could have said, like, look, yes, she tells him, you think simply wearing the crown imbues you with wisdom? She could have said, like, listen to me, Aegon, you are the king, but she could have said it like this. She's like, you're just learning this. You're learning. It's like remember the scene when Tywin was talking to Tommen, and he was like, you don't know all these things. You don't know about shipping and grain and stuff like that, but you need to, that's why you surround yourself with men who are more learned in these things. And that's how she could have taught him. She could have taken the time to teach him. But she is realizing, once again, she is taking the internal conflict that she's feeling, that she realizes, I put him on the throne when he wasn't supposed to be. And she's lashing out at him instead of taking it out on herself, because that is what Alicent does. It's the same thing that Cole did. Instead of realizing, I let down my king by not guarding because I was too busy screwing the queen, I'm going to send another one of the Kingsguard to go kill himself on a suicide mission. These two characters, when you're hypocrites, when you're monsters and liars like that, you don't internalize and realize that inside. No, you lash out at others because it's easier than looking inside and seeing the problems that you have. And that's why this show is stellar, because they don't have to tell us this. They show us this. It's all about show, not tell, and that is so important in storytelling, guys. And we're gonna speed it up because I don't want to spend eternity. But there is a shot here that I really wanted to, like, I had said, because I got some notes over here where she was saying, like, she's just belittling him and, you know, telling him how those people at the small council earn their seats, and he just, you know, she just keeps shredding what self-esteem he has, what little self-esteem he has. And there is such a great shot here where he's so defeated. He's so defeated, and he's like, what do you want me to do? Like, what would you have me do, mother? Like, he's trying to ask her for some sincere advice. And she tells him, nothing. Do nothing. And look at, this is a shot. This is a shot I was saying. Look, I want to play this out. I'm not going to, I want you to see his face, because she tells him, like, do nothing, because that's what you are. You're nothing, basically. And look at this acting. Look at his face right here. Look at the pain when he closes his, like, he goes to close his eyes. Ready? Like, you see that? Like, it felt like she just stabbed him. Nothing. Nothing. That's what she has to offer her son, who is in pain. Dude, this show, you could watch this show. I tell all actors to go watch stuff like this, to go watch Breaking Bad, to realize what acting truly is. It's not about reading lines. It's about putting yourself in that role and being able to express that emotion without even having to have dialogue is really those facial expressions. That you got to nail that, man. That's something that Amanda Stenberg could never nail, because that woman has no acting range. And I will continue to take pot shots at The Acolyte because that show is trash. But we are ending this up. I'm gonna let's get to the final two scenes. We're gonna, Cole is. I'm gonna skip a little bit. Cole is basically talking to Allison's brother, telling him like, "Yeah, we're gonna attack during the day," and he's like, "What? Didn't you see what happened?" Like, and he's like, "Dude, just shut the fuck up and listen to me, man. I got a plan." And Rhaenyra returns to Dragonstone. Finally, everyone's like, "Dude, where have you been?" And let me tell you, for Jacaerys, her son here, her oldest, this kid does not hold back. He's like, "Where you been? Where have you been, man? We've been trying to run this council. Woo! Support the war that your vassals have been fighting in your absence." And they start running it down. They're telling her like, "Where have you been the last few days?" And they're telling her like, "Dude, the war is going very poorly for us." And she tells them, she's like, I went to King's Landing, and Jacaerys flips, like he's like, "Dude, are you out of your mind? Are you losing it? Like, what the hell made you go there?" But I like that she has this line. She says something that kind of because she tells him, "I went to sue for peace," but I like that she has a line here that further kind of justifies what she says. And it's right here. She says, "I inherited 80 years of peace from my father. Before I may throw all that into the garbage, I got to make sure that there was no other options." And that is what we saw on her face at the last episode, in the last scene, where her face hardens to steel. She has finally realized that it is over. I have to go. I have to press the nuclear button. I have to send out the dragons. And they keep telling her, "Please send out dragons." So she does. Her council is telling her like, "Hey, like, you got to help. You have to do something, because we what are we going to do? We're losing our forces. We had no army to begin with. And now nobody's going to want to join us because Cole is out there taking everybody. He's taking Rook's Rest." And she's like, "Why the hell would he take Rook's Rest?" But they tell her, it's like, he is growing bold. He is challenging you to do something. He knows that you are not doing anything. And, he knows that we don't have an army on the mainland. He's brazen. He's daring us to act. That is what her council starts telling her. So she realizes, you're right, I have to do that. And she tries to go herself, right? She's like, "I'll go." And then Jacaerys is like, "No, I'll go." And they're both like, "Dude, no." So either one, they both keep telling themselves like, "You can't go." And Rhaenys comes in and says, "You have to send me, Your Grace." He goes, I have your biggest dragon. Meleys is your largest dragon and no stranger to battle. And Rhaenyra understands that she's right. He's right. Now, he realizes that she's right, and Aegon is kind of having this breakdown. He knows, like, damn, man, I got nothing left. What am I gonna do? Nobody respects me. Nobody believes in me. He's like, "You know what? Screw this. I'm donezo." And he just gets up and starts storming off. Now, as they're doing this, Rhaenyra starts telling Jacaerys about the Song of Ice and Fire. He tells him a little bit about it. As she's telling him about it, we see Rhaenyra preparing for war. He's preparing herself for battle, and Aegon is doing the exact same thing. That's a great shot right there. Both sides mounting dragons. We are about to see, we saw Aemon not attack. He didn't intend it, and he says it himself. You can see it clearly last season. He didn't mean to, but he lost control of Vhagar. As they said, they don't really control the dragons. Viserys has said that. That's an illusion. But, he lost control of Vhagar, and Vhagar attacked Lucerys's dragon. But that wasn't really like a actual battle. That was like a little skirmish. This is actually sending them out to war. And we're approaching the end. And like I said, Rhaenyra, they're mounting, and for all the people who were complaining about a lack of action, here we go. Because this siege, I truly wish I could sit here and show y'all this amazing fight. I truly do. I'll show you pieces, right? But the siege is going, and they are trying to lay siege, but they are getting hammered with arrows and crossbow bolts, and they are bringing their siege weapons. But this is a castle, and ask Dad from Shadowversity how brutally difficult it was to take even the smallest of castles, right? It is especially during the day, which is what Sir Criston Coles tells the guy, the Alicent's brother tells Cole. He's like, dude, during the day too, not only are you making it easier for the dragons to catch us, but it's going to be easier for the defenders to shoot arrows at us. And it's just volley after volley after volley of arrows. And I love this. They're showing, what I love about this is that they're not just showing them, using bow and arrows. They're using crossbows too. Right there, boom, crossbows and, bows. Obviously, the crossbows are not going to go as far, but they're shooting them up in the air. It'll get somewhere. If anyone's close enough, it's going to punch right through them. This is the difficulty of laying siege to a castle, but this is exactly what Cole wanted. Despite Alicent's brother coming in and being like, dude, you may as well have sounded horns to announce our coming. That's what they wanted. They wanted this. They wanted to lure in a dragon, because they know, like Rhaenyra starts showing Rhaenys shows off to arrive to help the forces of Rook's Rest to fight off to fight this off. And it's got to be kind of cool and inspiring, obviously in this fictional setting, when you're on the side that the dragon shows up to help you. You're like, yes, thank God. They're here to help us and not burn us, and burn she does. Like that right there, she has killed probably dozens of people in this one sweep, if not a good. And they said it's like 1,500 people. The Rook's Rest defenders say that Cole's army is about 1,500 strong. It looks like she just killed probably a good 40-something people in this single sweep. If she does 3 more sweeps, she's just killed a good 120. That's about a 10th of the army in just 3 sweeps, and they have nothing to do. And that's not counting the ones that were already killed by the defenders. So clearly, this is a very dangerous gambit that Cole is playing, but he has a plan, and his plan is a Vhagar-sized trap that's being hidden in the woods. He has a plan, and the plan was to lure out a dragon so that Vhagar and Aemon can attack it. But the problem is that before Aemon can take flight, he sees his brother, the king, come in. And he's like, God damn it, you fucking bum. Like he's pissed. Like idiot. Because he knows that this is throwing their entire plan out the window. It's not a matter of having more dragons. Using your dragons carefully. And you can, the same reason that they were telling Rhaenyra, you can't come on your dragon, even though Rhaenyra is probably outside of Daemon the best dragon, and Rhaenys probably the best dragon rider there. And they constantly were saying how much time Rhaenyra spends on her dragon. She spends more time on her dragon than anything. So it's a matter of you. But even though Rhaenyra would be an asset on the battlefield, she's your queen. You cannot send your queen and her dragon out onto the battlefield unless, like I said, like Aegon the Conqueror, when they had all the dragons. You cannot do that at this point. And even then, in Aegon's conquest, one of his wives dies. She dies, and so does their dragon, because Dorne is able to kill one of them. That's they get, I think it gets like a scorpion or a javelin in the eye or something. And it crashes down to the ground. So you can't like, Aemon realizes like, shit, I have the biggest dragon. So it's fine if I took this risk because he's like, maybe they're not going to send more than one. But now my brother's here and he's the king. And if he dies, we just lost. We lost because Aemon, so far they haven't shown Aegon's other son. I don't think he's going to be in here. I apologize. I'm going to sneeze. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze. They haven't shown Aegon's other son, Maelor. I don't know if he's going to be in the show. But right now, Aegon has no heir. He has no heir, and it would probably go to Aemon then. I mean, I don't think they're going to give the throne to his daughter, who's too young for it. So they would probably give it to Aemon. So he's kind of like, God damn it, this dope has come here and he's ruined our plan. And even Cole is told that. He's like, dude, was this your plan to like, bring the king and put him to risk? Is this what you had hoped for? And Cole's like, no, absolutely not. This is not what I had planned. And Aegon, to Aegon's credit, like right here, so this is the scene where he goes, whose dragon is that? He's like, whose dragon is that? And he's like, His Grace, the king's. And they're like, oh, cool. So we're just putting our king piece out there to die, right? Is this your master secret plot, Cole? Like, and Cole, to his credit, is not. He doesn't just lay down there like, no, fuck. He is. Don't get me wrong. He is right now losing his shit because Cole realizes that if the king dies during this, there is no coming back from this. There is no coming back from this honor. Not just like I said, the loss to their side, but to himself. He would be the king's guard who sent his king unintentionally. He didn't do it, but they're not gonna believe him to die. And Rhaenys is a far better dragon rider than Aegon is. So he's like, no. And he starts sending his forces. He starts sending all the troops out. He's like, everybody go, get on the field. We need to distract the dragons. We need to take that castle as soon as we can because our king, he starts saying it like our king came here to bless you with his battle. But in truth, he's like, oh shit, the king is here. We need to hurry the fuck up because we may need to save his ass. And the two dragons clash, and this is what people have been waiting for. And again, I wish I could give you guys all of it, but you notice what I love about this is how calculated Rhaenys is with using her dragon. She doesn't just start shooting fire left and right like Aegon just did. And I think personally she does that because she realizes that the fire is not going to do much to his dragon. And also because all it did was obscure his vision. It covered, so now he can't see where they're going. And she comes in and goes for the dragon itself. And that's how you can tell a much more practiced dragon rider. She went in for his blind spot. And look at the just sheer size of Meleys versus the king's dragon. Boom, look at that size comparison. This is a great action sequence, man. And I wish I could show y'all. But, I'll show you the fact that, like, he just tears, rends through Sunfire's chest and just, like, wounds. Like, I mean, this dragon is getting his ass beat. It's getting its ass beat and it's falling and the king is losing. He's like, oh shit. And he's falling to the ground. And look at this shot right here with the blood. Can I get it? Look at the blood spraying down on everybody. Like this dude just got all in his face. And that blood is probably, I would imagine if it's like D&D dragons, it's probably either boiling hot or acidic or corrosive, depending on what type of dragon it is. So I'm guessing that these people just got sprayed by like burning oil, essentially, right? Because they look like they're in agony when it falls on them. And this shot right here, this is the shot I wanted to show you. I got to get this in for you. because Aegon has shown up, and this has become a triple dragon battle. This has become a triple dragon battle because Vhagar takes to the field. And I love this shot behind the tree line of Vhagar emerging onto the battlefield. It feels like something, it feels like in Jurassic Park when they see the T-Rex. Like, it's so goddamn cool, man. Like, this shot right here, look at that. And you, again, I can't play any audio, but it's a cool shot. It sounds like it's just quiet, and it's like kind of shit. Like, it's dope. Like, just, and that was my bad sound effect of like the wing whooshing, and just it's so cool, man. Like, I'll let it play a little further so you could just see Vhagar emerge from the tree line. He's like, dude, we gotta get you inside. He's like, inside from what, man? There's no cover from this. You know, like, to that Lord's credit, he's like, there's no, where are we gonna go? Where the hell can I go? This dragon's gonna eat the damn castle. Like, this shot right here feels like a skyscraper taking flight. It's like a skyscraper taking flight, man. It's incredible. And mind you, Vhagar is very huge. It's very powerful, but it's very, very slow. And you've got Meleys and Sunfire duking it out, and they are, and remember, this massive dragon, this massive beast, this is the last of the 3 dragons that Aegon the Conqueror used to unite the 7 kingdoms. It was him, and this is Queen Visenya's dragon. The last of the 3. Balerion dies shortly during, I think, King Jaehaerys or King Viserys's. I don't even know if King Viserys was king when it died. I think he was still a prince, but it died. And the other one, like I said, was killed in Dorne, still during Aegon's rule. So this is the last of those 3 majestic dragons. And when it takes to the field, it's like, oh my God. But right now there is a battle going on between the 2 smaller dragons, Meleys and Sunfire, and Vhagar is heading towards there. And Rhaenys is like, oh shit. She's like, she didn't know. They didn't, you know, Aemon knew, Aegon, I think, knew, but he's all happy. He's like, thank God. He's like, thank God my brother's here. He sees him. He's like, thank the gods. But it's just, he's all happy until this, because this is fucked up. He tells him Dracarys. Look at Aegon. Dude, how great is this that they were able to capture that facial shot, man? I love this camera work, man. You saw the joy in Aegon's face disappear the moment he hears that, because he is locked in battle with Meleys. So who's going to get the worst of it? The woman who's in leather, or the guy who's in plate armor and exposed to this? Oh my God. He's like, oh shit. And she, oh, big oof. Give me that big old, the meme with the guy go, oof. Like, it's just a colossal battle between the 2. And it's just, or I should say between the 3. And this sets Aegon, he falls to the ground, and Aegon and Sunfire go crashing down. And Rhaenys could have escaped. She's gone. She's gone. She could have escaped after that. And I think she probably should have. Because first of all, there's no way that Vhagar's catching up to Meleys. No way. There's no way. There's no way that dragon could keep up to its speed. But she goes back in, and I have my thoughts as to why. I have my thoughts. I think there's a couple reasons why. And I think that it's partially is she went back into the fight because she realized if she abandons the battlefield, and she tells us, she leaves it with attack Meleys. She's like, let's go. Do we have to go in? And I think that she realizes that if she had left the battlefield when, Vhagar shows up, it probably would have been a bad morale for what few allies Rhaenys has left. I think she has a realization that Corlys has been unfaithful to her with the bastard. Maybe took some that, has made her all the more angrier. Maybe it's a realization that there's no coming back from this. And she has to do everything she can to give Vhagar a fight, because believe me, does give Vhagar a fight. Actually, she starts whooping Vhagar's ass because Melis is not the small dragon that Lucerys had that Vhagar took and, chomped down in one bite. Melis is nimble. Melis is very big. Maybe not as big as Vhagar, but pretty damn big. And it's at that right point where Vhagar is big, but big and slow. A slow, huge target. And the two of them clash in the skies. And when they clash, it is not just a whooping that Vhagar gives. Like, it's a pretty, like, I'll put this shot when they collide, the two dragons collide. And you can see Vhagar's big. Vhagar is very, very big. But Melis is able to get right into that little blind spot. Like, she's trying to breathe the fire on Melis, but Melis just starts getting into that little block. Look at that difference in size, man. He's just able to grab him with one. I'm sorry, they're both girls. Vhagar is able to grab her with just one claw and hold her there in place. But like I said, I'm gonna put it here so y'all can see that Melis starts getting the upper hand. I don't know what the fuck you would say in this fight right here. When she's small enough to sneak in and get to Vhagar's underside and claw. Look at that. Boom. Holes into Vhagar. Vhagar's like, oh shit. This bitch is cutting me up. Like, I'm telling you, it's not an automatic 1-for-1. This is why Daemon was like, dude, I need you to come. This is why at the beginning of the season, and it's cool because the two of them are fighting in the sky. Sorry, I'll get back to my point with Daemon. But the two of them are fighting in the sky, and it's just everyone stopping like this. It's like watching two demigods fight, and just the mortals are just like, oh shit, what do we do? We're nothing. We're ants to this. But back to Daemon. That's why Daemon was saying, with me and you, Rhaenys, we will kill Vhagar, and they likely would have. In my opinion, I feel like they likely would have. But this is what the battle is. And Vhagar like gets thrown to the ground. Like, Melis cuts a huge wound in Vhagar, and Vhagar like falls to the ground. And what's great is I was watching this with some of my friends, and I was telling Gogeta, I was like, hey, this is like some Gogeta stuff right here, man. This is like some Godzilla shit right here. Like, friend and foe. There's no friend and foe here. Like, Vhagar starts crushing everything underfoot. This dragon does not know logistics. It doesn't recognize people. It has just been wounded and severely wounded. And for an older dragon, any wound is significant. It is pretty bad. So, look at that. I just crushed these two people, man. They're dead. But yeah, like, eventually the fight, it's between the two. And Rhaenyra starts to fly away, and then just Vhagar, I was like, Vhagar has this self-attack where it attacks from underneath. It's done it twice, but she can't see where she doesn't know where Vhagar is, but unfortunately Vhagar does show up, bite Melis. It bites Melis, and I'll put it to that. And it's partially on Aemon too, right? Aemon's smart. Aemon knows, I can't chase this dragon down. I have to strike at it opportunistically, because right now, even toe to toe, I may not do too well. So he hides behind this castle, uses that to give him cover. And that's when, just like Jaws, man, chomps down on Melis's neck and just starts crushing her and killing her. And unfortunately, poor Melis is killed. And yeah, man, we end up with, anyway, I'm going to end this here because I just showed you this shot, right? Where she's falling, and it's such a sad shot. They show this sad shot of, like, the dragon looking back at her right there. Like, almost like, I'm so sorry. Like, I couldn't do it. And it's like, dude, you did your best, man. You did what you could. And Rhaenys starts falling down, crashing to the earth, and she just falls into Rook's Rest. And I wanna end it with, there's a shot that they go and they the dragon falls, and Cole, he goes to find Aegon, and Aegon, well, I guess I could show y'all that last shot. Let me just show you the last shot that we end with. And that's with Cole finding Aegon and finding that Aegon has, I don't know if he survived. Again, I don't know what Aegon's fate is in the book. But he goes to see, and Aemon is there, and he's like, where's the king? Like, where is he? And this is all that remains right now. Like, I'll show you. Let me, here we go. He finds, this is the red dragon and the gold. This is the gold dragon. Meleys was the red dragon. And Aegon, it looks like Sunfire is, look at these wounds on Sunfire. If Sunfire is not dead, then it's dying or close to it. And Aegon is just, he's crumpled on the ground, burnt. Who knows what state he's going to be in, if he's in at any state at all, if he's not just dead. So, you know, Cole realizes, like, yeah, we just won this fight, but at what cost? I love this shot right here. This might be my thumbnail. But it's like, at what cost did we win? So yes, it's like they lost a dragon, right? The Blacks have lost a dragon. They've lost their biggest dragon, but the Greens only had two. And one of them looks like it's dead right there, Sunfire. And the second one, Vhagar, is pretty hurt. So what does this mean? What does this mean now for the war? We have so many questions, and I don't think we're going to get another huge battle. Maybe we will. That would be amazing if we do. But this has shown, everything here is just constant. It's like build. It's such good, because even this, right? This is like the climax of all the past 3 episodes build up. And we still gives you this sense of like, no, this is more build up, right? Because where do we go from here? Aegon might be dead. Rhaenys has just died. Does Rhaenyra just like now go like, oh, well, they've lost one of their dragons. We have now not aerial superiority, but we have aerial supremacy. Because I gotta find what there's like 4 different tiers, but it's a tier below that. And it's like, we have now 4 dragons that we can send out if we ever get Daemon's ass back over here. What does Daemon do when he hears word of this? I don't know. It's awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is going to be an amazing next couple of episodes. I'm excited. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry that this video went so long, but it was probably my second favorite episode of this season, of this show so far, of the series, I should say. And I think one of the best episodes of Game of Thrones-ish ever. This is a perfect example of how you can do both action and meaningful character interaction. This is incredible. And you can see why Amazon ran scared and was not going to do that. They were not going to make the same mistake and put Rings of Power at the same time as House of the Dragon. They learned from last time. They were terrified. Too bad Disney's too stupid to realize it themselves with their garbage show, The Acolyte. Anyway, you guys tell me what you thought. What do you think of the episode? I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Let me know in the comments. Hit those buttons, hit the like, all that jazz. Thank you so much, guys, for spending your time here. I appreciate it. This is a long video, but thank you so much. I always want to give you guys a detailed breakdown. I enjoyed this episode so much. I hope you guys enjoyed too. Please, please, please take care of yourselves and stay safe out there.